What is up, everyone? Welcome to episode 26, the Young Phenoms Rising of the Sports Hour Plus with Miller and Watson. We're back Friday morning. Hopefully I'll be here the whole show. I got to hop off at 1:15, so let's hope we can get everything in the next little over hour and 10 minutes because we are going to a wedding today. We have rehearsal dinner tonight, wedding tomorrow for some of our really, really good friends. So we're so excited. Our wedding season has officially started. It's very exciting. But Kylan, how are you? I know you're a little sleepy. You were at the Phillies game last night.
Yes, I'm good. Like you said, a little tired. Was sad to see the best team in baseball right now lose in extra innings, but a very fun game, very hype game. It was really good. Yeah, I was a little tired, guys. Like I went. It was Syracuse night, so alums in the Philadelphia area got together, really good seats. And it was a fun game. It's unfortunate that the Phillies lost, but I did get a souvenir popcorn box with Bryce Harper on it and
There
a
you go.
Zach Wheeler souvenir soda cup. So I didn't, they lost, but I won. So it was a good night all around. Shout out to the Syracuse University Alumni Club of Greater Philadelphia, and shout out to my friend Clarence Trey Teller the third, and Jasmine Hunt, Travis, her friend Teo, her son Teo, and everybody else for coming out, all the alums and everybody else who I may or may not have interacted with in our section and everything. It was a really fun game.
Good.
Hit bumper to bumper traffic, but it was a fun game and a little tired, but I got my 7-8 hours in, but yeah, a little tired. So if I'm still on the upkeep, that is why. But yeah, how was the what you do how was the bachelorette last weekend?
My bridal shower was
Sorry,
very
the
fun.
bridal
It was
shower. Yeah.
very fun. My mother-in-law did a beautiful job at getting everything together. And it was really fun. So I have another one again in a couple weeks. So we're having a good time. Make sure you guys give us a follow on our socials, like, subscribe, follow me at M_India_Miller, follow Kylan at Kylan W. Watson. And let's dive right into it. So I think most of us woke up this morning with some crazy news on our phone. The world #1 golfer, Scottie Scheffler, was arrested trying to drive to Valhalla this morning for the PGA Championship. And if you don't know, I'll give you a quick rundown. There was a so it's been raining all weekend or all week in Valhalla. And there was a really, really unfortunate incident early this morning where a shuttle bus was involved in a fatal accident with one of the vendors that was working at the tournament. So the pedestrian, unfortunately, was killed. And so they had set up cops, fire trucks, everything. The players were instructed to just drive around it and get to their tee time. Scottie originally, I believe, was supposed to tee off at like 8:30. So he was trying to get there around, I think it was like 5:45 in the morning, trying to get there to start his routine, do his normal stuff. There was a miscommunication, I guess, between him and one of the detectives, where the detective reached inside the car. Scottie pulled forward. The detective got dragged, ruined his pants. And then they arrested him. And there's journalists on the site. There's videos. You can see them saying that Scottie Scheffler, like he's here for his tee time. He's not a pedestrian. And so it's unclear at this point if the cops thought he was just a random pedestrian or patron trying to come in and watch the tournament. It's a little bit unclear if they understood who he was. Not that, if he was rude, if he was this, if he was that. He has 3 misdemeanors and 1 felony charge. He posted bail and was driven. This is also another crazy part. He was driven from the jail. He has a mugshot and everything, was driven from the jail to Valhalla from one of the co-owners of the country club. So it's a really interesting, really weird situation. He arrived at Valhalla a little over an hour before his tee time, which is kind of crazy. Looks in good spirits, and if you don't know much about golf or about Scottie Scheffler, he's one of the most beloved guys on tour right now. No one has a bad thing to say about him. Their bad things that they say about him is that he's too boring, honestly. It's that he just had a kid, he's too normal, he's too boring, he's a robot, blah blah blah, but nothing mean ever. Nicest guy, everyone seems to enjoy him as a human being. So, seems to be like kind of a regular guy who's good at golf. So the story is definitely ongoing. It's just an interesting story. And it's sad for the town of Valhalla, because it seems like kind of everything that could have gone wrong has gone wrong. And it looks like it will be a while, if ever, if they host another major tournament. I, am keeping up with all the information. If anything else breaks, I will let you guys know, but that's kind of all we know. And it's just kind of a really weird morning for golf. Scotty's doing really well right now. Last time I checked, he was -1 for the day. I will check what he is at right now. But like I said, he is the world #1 golfer, like the best golfer in the world. Yeah, he's -1. He's through 18. How does it even happen? Through 18. It's great. I thought he teed off at like 10:05. I don't know how he's already through 18, but
did it rain? Was there a rain delay from yesterday? Did they not finish the round?
no, they finished yesterday.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then that's weird. It's probably a typo. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, -1 through 7. I don't
Okay.
know why it's saying through 18. Maybe he started on 9. I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably a typo. But yeah, I mean.
Oh yeah, because it says that they're all through 18, so that can't be right. Yeah, there's definitely a typo on the page. So he's -1 through 7, and it's pouring down rain there. So, first off, thoughts and prayers for the family of the poor pedestrian and worker that was killed this morning. It's horrible. It's horrible when anything like that happens. And I hope this kind of all can get figured out without it becoming a huge deal on both sides, because it's a sad situation, and tensions were obviously really high, and you don't want on either side, if Scotty did something wrong, he has to pay the consequences. And if the police were kind of maybe using excessive force or whatever that could have been, they need to say that they were wrong as well. So I'm sure more will be coming out in the next couple of days about this, but probably the biggest story in sports this morning, a little bit crazy. I know, yeah, Kylan didn't even know about it when I told him about it. So,
right.
But, yeah. So that's kind of all I have to say. I mean, I know you don't really have anything on it. But like I said, if we see anything else, we will let you guys know. If anything else comes out about it, we'll keep you guys updated. And yeah, so moving on from there.
Before we get there, shout out to Josh, one of my friends. Like, share, and subscribe. Definitely do that for this podcast. Growing podcast. We really think we do a great job. So definitely get that in front of more of your friends and stuff, and check us out on social media. But yes, to one of the biggest stories this week in sports. Caitlin Clark debuted, unfortunately, against Morgan's Connecticut Sun. She just didn't have enough, man. Dejanay Carrington put her in jail. As we all saw, she had her first double-double, but not the double-double that you're all thinking of, a positive double-double, but a negative double-double, because it was 20 points and 10 turnovers. So very unfortunate for Caitlin Clark. Very happy for the Suns, who obviously they lost Jones, but they lost Jonquel Jones, but for the most part, they are relatively intact. And I know the Connecticut area is very, very proud of their Suns. It's very unfortunate that Caitlin Clark, did what most of us thought happens to a lot of rookies. It didn't. It happened to LeBron. It's happened to Michael Jordan. It's happened to a lot of people. Kobe. It's now happened to Caitlin Clark.
Like, and it's not a bad thing. Let's preface that. Like, they are young. They are, and there's a huge difference in a lot of these leagues as well. Like, you have to remember, like, I'm not saying that like the WNBA has players that are better than every other league, but there's a lot less players that make it to the WNBA. It's a smaller crop. So this really is like the best of the best. And these women a lot of them are older. Like, they have been playing in the league for a long time. And it's so she got humbled a little bit, and not about it. She still played awesome. She had a great game. The steals were not good, but she's hitting her shots. And
I mean, this is like, no, go ahead. Sorry, finish your thought.
No. I was gonna say, so it was a good debut. It was kind of what people expected. It was people who follow basketball. It was kind of what they expected, I think.
Right.
people who don't thought she was like the world's greatest gift that's ever existed. And she's great at basketball, but so are the girls she's playing against. And she proved today that she can compete in the WNBA. But I think some of the other teams, showed that
Yeah, I
they
mean,
can compete against her too.
here's the thing, right? Like Dejanay was a top 3 pick, I think, last year or the year before that. So like literally she got shut down by somebody who she was literally playing against a year or two ago. So like, Dejanay is from Baylor. She's a great player. That's her whole job, right? Is to lock people down. And that's literally what she did. And that's the thing, right? Caitlin Clark is playing against people who she played against a year or two ago in college, but these players obviously they left college before her. They've got a year or two under their belt of the WNBA, and they're top 3, top 5 picks in and of themselves, right? Like the Suns are a relatively young team in comparison because, like I said, they got rid of one of my favorite players, Jonquel Jones. She's now with the Liberty. Like they're a lot younger, and they showed it yesterday. Like they were a lot younger. They've got Nelson Adoda, one of Morgan's favorite centers from Connecticut. They've got a bunch of really really good tough role players in Connecticut, and they're a good team. And like I said, like I say in basketball, and it's even more prevalent in the WNBA, a complete team beats a bunch of individuals, every time. And that's even more important than the WNBA. Obviously, the Fever will be fine. They have Aaliyah and they have Caitlin Clark. They'll be fine. Unfortunately, they had to start their season with two of the tougher matchups, having to play the Liberty and the Suns, like in the first couple of days of the season. So really a baptism by fire here. So like she'll be fine. This should be a life lesson for you guys who thought she would come in here dropping 60 like it was college.
Yeah.
Really, that's not what was going to happen, as most of us thought. But Caitlin Clark, she's bringing guys. Um, there was a time in that game where I have joked with my dad because I was watching that they were going to kick Dejanay out because Caitlin Clark was a little slow getting up, and I was like, can't have that. So obviously she got up, she'll be fine. She has to adjust to the game, but yeah, it was a good trial by fire. That's what you want, right? A baptism by fire. She'll be fine. She still dropped 20 points. I'm sure she would rather have had the win, but it didn't happen. It'll happen. The Fever will be fine. It's just growing pains, and it was a really good game. Obviously, it was unfortunate for the Fever, but great for the Suns and the state of Connecticut because they love their Suns. So right, how many? Is that the only professional team in Connecticut besides UConn?
Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah. So look at that.
There's some AHL hockey teams and a minor league baseball team, but about that, that's it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah, Connecticut has nothing else, so they have that and UConn.
And you
So
got yeah.
uh, so
Um,
so
yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah. So you got anything to add to that?
nope.
Yeah. So moving right along then to way too early predictions for the start of the WNBA season. You want to lead off?
Oof. The Connecticut Sun look good. They look really good. The Aces look good. Also, can we just talk about? Did you see the fifths as they were walking in? Um,
On
uh,
Tuesday or not or
oh
yesterday?
no, like the opening day fits.
Okay. Yeah,
They look so good.
I
Oh my
saw
god.
Caitlin's all white. I was like, oh, look at that. She looking clean.
Kayla was in the black, the tube top,
Was it black? I thought it was all white. I
and
might have.
then Nika Mule was in the. No, she looks so good. She had like they all look so good. Do you see
NIL.
Kelsey's Plum? Oh my god, Kelsey Plum looked so good. She had like a vest that like didn't have anything underneath it. I was like, ooh, she's showing off. She said divorce is coming,
I
and
was like the newly single Kelsey Plum. So for those
yeah.
of you that are
But
thirsty,
I don't know. It's a long season. I think it's hard to tell right now because sorry. I I want the rookies to get settled in a little bit because I think some of these rookies are impact players that will have a big impact on the team. But I mean, if you told me that the Aces would go again, I'd be like, yeah, that would make sense. The Sun looked good. Besides that, though, I haven't really gotten to get my eye on that many of them. What are you thinking?
So I'm thinking the East. The East is, in the East West. The East is loaded. Obviously, you have the Liberty, the second year of Sabrina Jonquel and Brianna Stewart together. Hopefully, at least the two, at least the older half of that, Brianna, which is crazy, can stay healthy. Stewie needs to stay healthy. There's a very good incentive for all of them to stay healthy with the Olympics coming up. So yeah, Stewie needs to stay healthy for the Liberty to go anywhere. Sabrina is great, but she's not a shot creator. So she's more of a 3-point specialist who can create shots for people, but she can't really. I mean, she's getting better at it, but she's not there yet where she can create her own shots. So John Quill and Brianna have to do the heavy lifting. So on that, the Liberty look good. They just beat the Connecticut, not the Connecticut Sun, the Fever yesterday, 102-66. So they poured it on again. Baptism by fire, like I just said for Caitlin Clark. So we'll see how that goes for the Liberty. Can their big three? I mean, obviously they're coming off of a finals appearance last year, so we'll see what happens. The Aces, obviously, what can you say about Asia and like got her Gatorade deal now. Sneakers about to come out. Like the Aces look good. I fully expect the Aces to be in the finals. A storm is coming literally. Like, they're just recruiting. They got they're just retooling at this point. I expect the storm to be there. They'll be making some noise. Like, they lost Brianna Stewart. Got Skylar Diggins. Got a bunch of players back in there. It's funny when you say like you lose Brianna Stewart, you lose Sue Bird, but you add Skylar Diggins, and then it's just like we're good. Like, and so yeah, so I think the Storm will be good. I think a sneaky team to look out for is the Sparks. I think with Cameron Brink and the height that they have, they'll be good. I don't know if they'll make it to the finals or be in the playoffs. So I think that's a team to look out for as well. As you said, the Connecticut Sun. Um, I think it's going to be an interesting year in the W. Obviously, will all these players need to stay healthy, like I said, because the women's team USA roster has not been announced yet. So we just for pure patriotism, they need to stay healthy just because of that. Uh,
Yeah.
but we'll see. I'm very excited for the women. I'm glad that they have increased eyes. The money's coming. Look forward to that new TV deal.
Yeah.
Very excited for them. So hopefully
So
the positive momentum stays. Go ahead.
yeah, no, no. So I was just gonna say, speaking of that, with all the new players, we do have players retiring as well.
No.
Um, and we hit on it a little bit last week, but Candace Parker retired. Kind of came out of nowhere. Not out of nowhere, but just kind of announced it. No frills, no fluff. Just I'm done. You saw the video of Stewie being told and some of the other players being told, and one of the goats. Truly a pioneer when it came to women's basketball. She'll be missed, but she's been doing great stuff on air, and I hope she continues to do that. She was awesome during the NCAA tournament. So I'm happy for her. She's probably making more money on TV, which is
Crazy.
just kind of how it works. But I'm excited. I'm happy for her. The game will miss her for sure, but I'm hoping that she doesn't stay too far away.
I'm glad she won. She got her 2 championships with Chicago and Las Vegas last year. I'm really happy for her. One of the great basketball players who we all grew up with, Candace Parker. Really great. Tennessee great. Really great basketball mind. Congrats to her for becoming the president of basketball operations for Adidas.
Yep.
So all the new Adidas shoes will be under her, which is great to see.
So cool.
That she's making all that money that way and everything else that she's got going on. Congrats to her. Really, really one of my basketball heroes. Love her. So I'm glad that she went out on her sword the way she wanted to. Right? It was the perfect. This is what she basically got. What Nick Foles should have done. Right? Win that championship, retire. It's not gonna get any better than that, and that's what she did. Shout out to her. Like I said, one of the great basketball players ever to come out of Tennessee. which is saying something because Tennessee has a lot of basketball greats for that have come through that women's program.
Yeah.
So yeah, one of the great, really, really great basketball players, and really, really excited for her. Really sad to see her go. Really like seeing her still playing ball. But congrats to her. And shout out to all the people she paved the way for, like the Agumake sisters and everybody else, who was broadcasting and playing ball at the same time. So congrats to Candace, and I hope she enjoys her retirement. And speaking of that, of the W being up, we now have the official team name of the Golden State team, the Valkyries. Morgan, what do you think about the Valkyries?
I love it. I think it's so fun. I love the colors. Like, I'm so excited. I think it's going to be great. We talked about this last week, but I just love the expansion of the WNBA. I love it. I think it's going to allow for more of the players that we love in college to be able to come without feeling like we're pressuring the older players to retire, if that makes sense. I feel like sometimes there's this pressure for us to tell the old girls, and they're not even old, but that they have to retire, where we don't see that in the men's side as much, because we have there's so many teams that the new players will all find a spot without the current stars feeling like they're getting pushed away, which I'm excited about.
Right, and I'm excited about this new team too. I like the Golden State colors. I think they had a chance to just make them the Warriors too, but I guess they didn't want to do that. Didn't want to confuse people, so I'm excited for the Valkyries. I think that's great. Goes with the whole Valhalla thing that they got going on in San Fran anyway with the Golden State Warriors. So I think it's great. We'll see the talent that they get. Like Morgan said, it's great to have new teams coming in. Should be one in Philadelphia, but we'll get to that in the next segment. But I'm very excited for them. The Warriors got their own stadium now, so that should work out for them. And it's great to see the expansion. WNBA, get that WNBA G League going. So
Yeah.
like the players can say, I brought this up before, that there's an NBA G League, there should be a WNBA G League, and it shouldn't be that hard if you already have these teams being sponsored by the NBA anyway. It shouldn't be that hard to get the same team name just on the W side. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. Great, like Morgan said, echo everything she said. Expansion is a great thing. Keeps these players around, brings in more money, gets these players to where they need to be. They can earn a living. So I'm so excited for that. And then the last one on this
Yeah. And just,
topic is for the
speaking
WNBA.
of that, yeah, Toronto is getting the next team. So we don't know what the name is going to be yet. We don't really know when I think they're going to be incorporated. I think is it 2026?
Yeah, I think both of these teams will be there. I think the Valkyries will be there next year, and then
And then the
yeah,
next year after that is
yeah.
Toronto. So again, I mean, that's 30 more people that get to play. And that's amazing. That's 30 more super talented, deserving women that get to play professional basketball in America. And I'm excited about it. We don't really know much about it yet. Toronto's a great city. It's a great sports city. So I'm happy for them.
Yeah, I'm excited for Toronto. Like I keep saying, it should be Philly, but there's obviously some things going on with the Sixers trying to get a new stadium. That's complicating that process. But I'm excited for Toronto. Like, great basketball city. Obviously, they need a good team because everybody else sucks. So they need some help there. So hopefully the women can help them out, or the Maple Leafs, whichever one. I know the Maple Leafs are really doomed. This is not Kylan does hockey, but I do know the Maple Leafs suck. So
Fair.
like
Fair.
so I am very excited for Toronto, despite the whole basketball Philadelphia Toronto rivalry thing from 2019. I'm very excited for them, and I hope it continues to go well for them, and that it goes well in 2026, and get
Yeah.
us in the Philly ASAP. That's all.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so speaking of that, we promise to keep y'all updated on this. So House versus NCAA, we've had some expansion on this. Pete Thamel and Yahoo Sports have been putting in work on this side, helping all of us understand what is going on with one of like 10 complicated NCAA antitrust cases. So in this word, the Pac-12 has voted on the settlement. Obviously, we all know that the Pac-12 is just two teams, so that was probably the easiest thing to vote on for Washington State and what am I missing? Washington State and Colorado State. Is it Colorado State?
It might be. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, so the two Pac-12 teams are still there. They voted on it. The ACC is starting the process of voting for the settlement, the financial framework. We didn't know this last week. We know it now. It's going to tap out to be about 7 billion, basically the amount of money that they make each year on off March Madness, which is obviously the highest rated thing that they do in the NCAA. Financial framework, again, still being worked out, but it should amount. Pete is reporting that it's basically going to amount to essentially most, if not all, of the revenue that they make off of March Madness. Morgan, what's your reaction to this?
I haven't been able to follow this as much as I wanted to, but I again we've kind of continued to talk about it. I think it's a good thing. I think it's going to help bring more parity to the NCAA, and that's exciting for me.
Mm-hmm. As y'all know, I'm a chaos agent, so I'm all for this. Like maximum chaos. I'm all for the fact that I want these athletes to have the same rights that their fellow students have to be able to make money off their name, off their likeness. The fact that they can't go on YouTube or do whatever and or up until now they couldn't do that and make money off their likeness by playing games or stuff or whatever. Like, who was that kicker that was like a YouTube sensation and he kicked for, like, I think it was San Diego State or another college team, and he couldn't make money off his YouTube videos because he was doing, you remember the trick kicks he was doing? Like, he was kicking the ball from like the bleachers and like it would go into the basketball hoop. He was doing a lot of stuff, man, and it was a great thing. What's up, RC? Shout out Josh. I put him up there twice. What's up, RC? Good to see you. I know you're excited from your Timberwolves destroying the Nuggets last night, and we will get to that. Um, but yeah, like I'm totally excited for this. I think it'll be good to have collective bargaining agreement. However, I do want the players to be careful because you're dealing with a guy who, where Morgan is in the New England area, they know very, very well, Charlie Baker. So I would be careful with how those negotiations go. And this leads into our next one because Pete Thamel and them are also reporting that the NCAA is trying to get the players to join them and lobbying Congress to give them antitrust protections. And I'll start on this one. I think this is stupid. I said this last week with the Boise State situation with their coach. You cannot try to have your cake and eat it too, NCAA. Like, you can't be out here telling these players and claiming to congressional folks that, oh my goodness, like, this is too much. You guys should get in here, help us out. While also trying to be like, but we want to be protected from all the antitrust things that all of our colleges, because we can't. What they're basically saying, for those of you that don't know, the argument is like, we're the all powerful NCAA, but also we have no control over what goes on in all of our colleges from D1 to D2 to D3, right? We have no control over that. And obviously, we've seen it with the Supreme Court. They told them you have no control over what each of these colleges in these various different states do with their NIL money. So now they're trying to get like antitrust protections, and I don't think anybody has antitrust protections. I don't even think the NFL has antitrust protections. I don't think the NBA has antitrust protections. So like the NCAA is trying to get stuff that no other major league has, right? So I think it's stupid. I think the players should be careful. I said to Morgan off air, I'll say it on air. Like, I think that they're trying to take advantage of the fact that we're hearing now that these players don't want to be employees of the college. So because of that, they're like, all right, since you don't want to be employees, then you can be at will workers. Protect us from this stuff, and we'll make sure that you get money and stuff. And anybody who's under the sound of my voice or listening to this who's ever been an at will employee, you know the dangers of that, right? That like it's kind of stupid, it's kind of dumb. What at will employees deal with. So like I think that's what's going on here, and I would love for the players. I think they should go the Dartmouth route, get a union, get a players union. I think this is where this is all headed anyway. There's going to be an NCAA players union, whether these players, specifically football players, like it or not. But it's coming. That's where it's going. And it's about time that happens. And I know that because with a union comes like a thing. Obviously, each sport is different, but specifically for basketball and football, I was just saying this to Morgan last week that I think it's stupid that the men in college basketball can leave after a year or two, but you know, Caitlin, Sabrina, and them had to wait 4 years to leave, while the men just get to leave a year or two apart. I think it's stupid, right? I think they should be able to be one or two and done. I really don't care that it's going to affect the college, women's college basketball because I think it's kind of a shame that Juju has to stay another 3 years and deal with an evolving Connecticut while being stuck at USC where they're just giving them money and being like, do something, Juju. I think it's kind of stupid. But I would tell the specifically I think this is the football side saying they don't want to be um employees of the school to really think about what you're saying here when you get stupid stuff like this from Charlie Baker and them saying, "Hey, protect us." Basically, do what some voters do. To bring a metaphor up here, do what some voters do in some parts of this country, which is like, we'll give you your money, but we want you to protect us from your interests, from things that would help you. Right, so that's what they're basically asking these players to do. To put that in simpler terms, for a lot of
Yeah.
people who don't understand it in sports terms, essentially what is happening is what happens in this country where a lot of people vote against their interests, right? Like because they're so ingrained into a specific political party that they vote against their interests. This is exactly what the NCAA wants these players to do, which is protect us from things that will help you. Morgan, you
Yeah.
got anything else to add?
No, you hit it all. You covered it.
All right. All right, so I am going to get out the way because Morgan was. I put this on here. We didn't really talk about it. It's one of the things where we have perfect symmetry here. I'm gonna close this, but I'm gonna let Morgan go. Harrison Bucker, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, most of you probably saw his or saw clips of his college commencement speech at I think it's Benedictine. It's a Catholic college. Just really off color, out of taste, saying that women's lives begin the day that they get married and have kids, and that we've been lied to, saying that we need to chase careers and this and that. And okay, I mean, some women, that's all they want to do. They want to have kids and have a family. Some women want to have a career and they don't want to have kids and a family. So, who are you, Mr. Harrison Bucker, that kicks footballs for a living, to tell us what we want? And he says, I know my wife would say the same. Have you asked her? Are you sure? I'm not. I mean, maybe she does, and that's fine. If that's her feeling, that's totally fine. But to say that women at a graduation speech from college, nonetheless, this isn't like you're speaking at like a pro-life rally or like a men matter a conference or something. You're speaking at a graduation course for men and women that are graduating from college.
Right.
And you're telling them that their degree is useless and they should just go get married. Like I love that women have changed this around and haven't been like bitching and been mad about it. They've just been like, oh, well, here's actually everything that I do while you go and kick footballs for a living. And we kind of talked to this a little bit off air. And, you know, you don't want to bring people's families into this, but his mom is like a very, very high power scientist. She's, I believe, a physicist who teaches. She's a teacher, a professor.
At Emerson.
Yeah. I mean, which is just, so you wonder, you know, where he got that. The nuns actually did come out and make a statement saying that this doesn't align with the Catholic views on women, blah, blah, blah. You know, so nuns don't get married and have kids. They, you know, they're serving and working in a different capacity, and they go to seminary and they do this, they do that. And, you know, to say that all women, all we are is baby makers and wives is crazy. And I want to have kids. I can't wait to be a wife, but that's not going to define my entire life. I have a master's degree. You know, I worked hard for my education. I work hard to pay bills and to work in my job that I love doing. Um, and who are you, Harrison Bucker? And like, Harrison Bucker, I cover you. Like, what are you talking about? Like, be nice to me. I'm the people that am on the media and the social media and posting your graphics and things. Like, you're surrounded by women. And I know that for a fact, because I have one of my dear friends from grad school worked a female, worked for the Chiefs last year in their media department. And it was a lot of females that work there. So, this wasn't like something that he just said. Like, this was a speech that he sat down and wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And, this wasn't in an argument. This wasn't, he got caught off guard in an interview. No, he wrote this speech. He came to this college to say this speech. And not even the stuff that he said about the women. The stuff he said about the men was weird. It was like, your masculinity is being taken away from you, blah, 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 blah. I think masculinity, sexuality, all that stuff, it's been proven that it's on a spectrum. Like, you're not any more or less of a man because you're more masculine or less masculine. Like, my friends that are more feminine than masculine, that are still men, they're still men. They're the same amount of men as you, Harrison Bucker. And a lot of them are doing a lot more and better stuff for the world than you are. I don't know what the Chiefs are. It's hard. It's free speech. So it's not like, I don't know what's going to happen. You see, it's disheartening. And he used Taylor Swift. He quoted Taylor Swift, which was wild that he quoted Taylor Swift, because she is like the most pro woman working pro. She literally has a song that's called "If I Were a Man" that talks about how the business world is made for men and it takes women 15 times harder to do something than a man. Like, it's wild. So it's interesting to me that, like, she hasn't said any. It's just a weird, convoluted thing, because like, nobody from the Chiefs has said anything. Nobody's come out and said a statement afterwards. I don't know if they will. Is it warranted? I mean, I think so, but like, who am I to say?
I doubt it. They didn't. They did the same thing when it's not the same thing, obviously, but when Juju Smith-Schuster was like, yeah, like we knew that the Eagles were like, it's kind of when he disrespected the Eagles, and then they got that revenge the
Yeah,
next later on in the season. No one said anything. They just let it go because they were like, this is too stupid. I mean, I'm sure they were messaging every Eagles player and being like, "Yo, that's just what he thinks. That's not what we think," But I'm
yeah,
sure that that's going on behind the scenes.
yeah. And I mean, I feel for his wife, because regardless of if she feels that way or she doesn't, she's going to be alienated now from probably friends, probably other football players' wives.
His poor mother too, because
For all of them, he
there's
put the
definitely
family in a really shitty situation. Again, there are times in life where free speech is available for you, and that's great, but you don't always have to say them. Like, we've been taught since we were young, you don't always have to say everything you think. And when you're in a position of power like that, like, God, I hope he read that speech to his wife before he went up there and did it. I hope that she did not hear it for the first time when he went up there. And if she okayed it, great. That's her issue. And I don't understand it, but that's her, and that's fine. But yeah, I'm sure this is kind of not really going to be the end of it. It's interesting. I know a lot of people are saying, I hope that he misses every kick that he tries this year. There's a lot of cynicism coming in that way, but it just sucks. It's a shitty situation. He's a shitty person. And I hope that I never cross paths with him.
yeah. Yeah. Oh,
that's kind of it. I mean, I don't really know what else there is to say. He shouldn't have said the stuff. I mean, if he believes it, I guess say it. And now we all know the kind of person that he really is.
Yeah, I think honestly, I said this on Twitter when I tweeted that, like, I'm not Catholic, but then, Catholicism, Christianity, other than the difference being the Pope, there is some crossover there. And, there are a lot of men, not me, but there are a lot of men who, use Catholicism, Christianity, like the whole ethos of it, of their belief is, obviously they believe in God, but also the other half of it is like, and there's a lot of this in every religion, right? That women are subservient to men. All you need to do is, this is not what I believe. Let me just disclaim
No,
that.
I know, we know, yeah.
No idea who are just hearing this and may have missed what I said before that when I said this is some people in the religion, in
No,
various religions, not me.
it's
But
it's true. You see
yeah,
it in every aspect. You see it when you get married. I got into like a little thing because I'm having both my parents walk me down the aisle and they were like, "Oh, and then we'll give you away." I'm like, "No, you're not giving me away. I am not a prized possession. You're not Dan's not paying you 5 chickens for my hand in marriage, you know?" And my mom started laughing. She's like, "You know what I mean?" I'm like, I do know that, but it's also like,
yeah, it's tradition. I get it.
you know, it's like all that stuff where it's written in there. And it's like, if you listen to some of like the traditional vows in church, it's like the woman shall obey her husband, serve and obey, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, you serve and obey me too. You know, it's like, but that's
Yeah,
beside the point. It's deeply rooted into religion, women serving men, which is fine. And that's old dated. And most people don't believe that.
right. I mean, it's one of them things where, like, obviously, in a marriage, because we both come from, well, my parents have been married 39 next month, going on 40 years. Like, marriage is a compromise. You don't last going on 40 years like my parents do, by not compromising, by not doing stuff, raising 2 kids, and stuff like that, and kind of like your parents too, raising. It's just you, right? You don't have a.
Yeah, my dad has a son as well, but
Okay.
I a half brother.
Okay. So yeah, so like, it's hard to do all that and be married and everything, but like my piece on this, I echo everything Morgan said. To go back to what I was saying, like, it's just like, you can be like, as a man, right? I totally understand, as a black man too, that you have to work hard, like 20 times harder to get where you get in this industry. Like, just doing this podcast was a work in itself. Finding Morgan, finding the perfect partner and everything is a work. Like, it's a whole thing, right? And so for somebody, anybody, specifically to come on a Catholic campus and feel like, and again, I don't know. I believe the school came out and said this doesn't reflect their
They
values.
did. They
So,
did. They posted a statement, I think
yeah,
today or yesterday.
yeah. So like, so for you to just fully take advantage of this college. So I'm not blaming the college. I'm not blaming Catholicism. I'm specifically, let me just say this. I'm not putting it on the Catholic religion, because the Catholic religion has its own problems with priests and everything. So like, I don't need to put that on Catholicism. Don't need to put it on Christianity. This was just specifically, like Morgan said, and like I'm
This was
saying,
one
yeah,
dude that has opinions that used religion to support his opinions, which people do all the time. There's a lot you see tragic events all the time that happen because people are using their religion in a way that is their religion should not be used in.
right.
I think that's enough on freaking Harrison Butker. I don't want to talk about him anymore. He's not him, shockingly, of the week. But I will just say his name, and we don't have to talk about him anymore because he sucks. And
Yeah,
I
yeah, RC has some thoughts. Hold on. She got the emoji reaction to us cracking up about this. But he also has this. uh, I see with the jokes. But yeah, so moving right along to a more to an NFL related question, but that's more positive. Netflix gets the 3-year deal to broadcast NFL Christmas games. Now, y'all know
I love it. I love it.
around the time we talked about Christmas, I said that the NFL would try to take it from the NBA. But we'll get to this next question in a minute. Morgan says she loves it, so I'm gonna let her go with this one.
Well, then
Let's
I love it because that means that I don't have to work on Christmas. I love that for me. But I just think it's bad. And I know that I'm in the minority about this. I was thinking about this last night. I know that I'm in the minority about this. I know that the people I work for probably don't share the same thoughts as me, but I think the more people that broadcast, the better product you're giving to the customer. And the reason being for that is that When somebody else does something cool, okay, cool, we have to outdo that. We have to up that. You can't just get complacent. And I think for a while, certain companies have gotten complacent. I wouldn't necessarily say NBC definitely isn't one of them, because we only do a primetime game, and primetime games in themselves have to be special. So you have to do something different for them. But a lot of the games that just are played 1 o'clock, I feel like sometimes they can just get complacent. And the more people that have the manpower to broadcast these games is going to up the game for everybody, and it's going to bring a better product to the consumers. And I love that. I think that Netflix has done a really great job. I think it's the last month they've had their like live comedy stuff going on. I think they've done a really good job with it. They did a great job with the roast. So I think they've proven that they can do live really well. Their site is so easy to use, better than most of the other streaming platforms. Like, if we're going to be honest, like better than probably Hulu, ESPN Plus, makes it easier to find stuff, I think, unless they do a big change.
Definitely more intuitive than the other.
Yes. And everyone has Netflix. Everyone knows how to use it. It's not, I understood the frustration for when the games were on Peacock. Even though I worked there, I understood that not everybody pays for Peacock. It's not like a universal, it's not a universally bought streaming service. I would say that 99% of people have a login to Netflix. Maybe it's theirs, maybe it's their ex-boyfriend 3 times removed, maybe it's their parents, but everybody has a login to Netflix. So I know people are going to be upset about it, but again, and think about it like this: Christmas is a holiday where most people are with their family. Somebody in that family has a login to Netflix, right? Yep. Like at least one person. And so I don't mind it. And again, I know I'm probably in the minority about that. I very much understand that. But the other thing is that it brings more jobs to this industry. Anything that can bring more jobs to live action stuff is always better. Live is better, in my opinion. I like working on live stuff better than taped. It is more exciting. I'm intrigued to see, they haven't announced who the announcers are going to be yet. I'm intrigued who they're going to do. They're definitely going to have to just get people from other networks. So I'm wondering if Mike and Chris will do one, if, Tom and, is Tom and Greg, are they together?
No, I think it's Tom and Kevin.
And Aaron Andrews or whatever, or if they'll mix and match, or if they'll take Tom and Tarika. Like, how cool would that be? So, yeah. It's partners that we won't necessarily get to see on a daily basis. I think it's fun. I'm excited, and I don't have to work on Christmas. So all of these things make me happy.
I was about to say it's great for the people who do the Nickelodeon, the NBC Christmas games, and other ones, the Fox Christmas game, which was the Eagles Giants. That means you don't have to work on Christmas, which is great.
It's nice because we do work on Thanksgiving. So it's nice to know that we can work on one or the other. And I think that's, splitting up some of these holidays. And
you want to take this question? I believe it's the first time they're airing a live sport.
It's the first time they'll have done a live sport. So they've been kind of testing it out with their Netflix is a joke comedy stuff the last couple of weeks. So they've been doing a really, really good job. I mean, you have to say, like, the roast is live on Netflix and not a lag, nothing, which is, it's not sports, it's different, but that kind of stuff is cut like sports. You could tell they were testing stuff out. They were cutting cameras. They had many different angles. They had a sky cam.
Didn't they do the Cat Williams special too?
Cat Williams. Yep. I think like a week before. So they have been doing live events. They just haven't done a live sporting event. And they're going to bring in the people who are doing this. You probably aren't on LinkedIn and stuff, but stuff comes up on LinkedIn all the time for Netflix sports. They're looking for live event producers, directors, production assistants, all this stuff. They're trying to build a sporting group. And I'm assuming for this one, they probably will pay people that are already doing primetime games to come in and either assist or do it. It's kind of like what Amazon does with NBC. So NBC Thursday Night Football, even though it's on Peacock, it's completely pretty much run by NBC. At least it was last year. I'm not sure if this might be the first year that Amazon is doing it completely by themselves, but for the first 2 years, for sure, all the most of the people behind the scenes were NBC people.
That's good to know.
Yeah. So
So
they'll probably pay people at because a lot of people that work at NBC and stuff are freelancers anyway. So they'll probably pay a lot of them to come over and do NBC, ESPN. It all depends on the non-complete clauses and people's contracts and that kind
it's
of
already
stuff.
legal now. Shout out,
But
shout out to the Supreme Court.
yeah, so that I think is going to be a big deal when stuff like this starts to happen because we don't have a game, so there's no reason why they couldn't go and do these games. So, and Netflix has so much money. So
Yeah,
I think it's exciting. Like I said, I love it. I'm excited about it.
yeah. Shout out
But
to RC for the questions. No problem. No
yeah,
problem. Brother. We always love our more active. We love every fan, but
yeah.
especially more active fans. To me, this is great. Specifically, to move on to the next question. I believe this is great. Obviously, like I said, for the sport. The NFL is, you know, the NFL has to compete with the NBA because the NBA is a global, is an international sport. It gets a lot more stuff. It is in markets the NFL isn't in, so you have to make unique partnerships to get somewhere. The only bad news about this is, unfortunately, for the people who like the Nickelodeon game on Christmas, like Morgan and I do, it seems like that's dead. But we still have the Super Bowl, so
Yeah.
so there's that. But so there's some stuff there they'll have to figure out. Maybe the CBS people will still do the NFL Christmas Day broadcast for the kids, just because I doubt that Netflix. I mean, they're great, but they don't have the strong enough kids network infrastructure yet. So I think that the Nickelodeon game will still be alive and well, more than likely. I have no inside sources on that, but I'm assuming because the NFL has made that a big thing that they want to get that kid audience and Christmas Day is probably the best time that you will do that. I think that they'll still have the Nickelodeon game. But yeah, I think that's great for the NFL. I think it's great for Netflix. And I think the only thing I disagree with is I think this is what I think. If there's a such thing as a win-win for both of these things, it's this for the NBA because this gets Netflix, this gets the NFL off of regular television and opens up a window for the NBA. Now I don't know if there was a quid pro quo like, hey NFL, this is the NBA's Christmas Day. I think the NFL kind of figured out that outside of them, it's like I said last year. I mean, Morgan loved it last year with those three games, but they really juiced it by putting Oakland and KC against each other, New York, Philadelphia against each other, San Francisco and Baltimore against each other. They really juiced it by
I
outside of
honestly,
Kansas
the
City
the thing
putting it
is
on
though,
big city
I
markets.
I would have watched football. I would have watched football over NBA no matter what it was. I think it's just the demographics of people. I think if you're a football person, you're going to watch football. If you're a basketball person, you're going to watch basketball.
Right.
But I do agree with you. I think it's smart to separate them
Right.
like that. All right, I got about 15 minutes left, so let's move on.
Yeah. So cool.
Um,
So yeah, your other favorite thing, the schedule release. I'll start here. I think it's great. I really enjoyed the Eagles hype video for it. But I do think it's kind of overhyped. But I think the most intriguing matchup for me is Eagles Ravens. I think that'll be a really really good matchup. And obviously San Fran, Kansas City when that happens to kick it all off. I think Eagles Packers is kind of a weird game to put in Brazil just because not just as an Eagles fan, but as an Eagles reporter, a Friday night game and it's not a high school game. It's kind of weird, even though it's on Peacock. But I'm very excited for the thing. I think the Eagles have a good schedule. I think it's good. I think the schedule release is kind of good. I don't think it really competes with the NBA or what's going on in the summer, but I know that the NFL is trying to get the mind share like the NBA has all year round. I don't think a schedule release is really that good, but that leads into the next question. So I'm gonna let you go.
yeah, no, I'll kind of just lead into the next question. So, with the most intriguing matchups, is it overhyped? That's kind of what we're talking about all in one here. I would say, yeah. I mean, I think it's overhyped. I think that these social media teams have done such a good job at creating these videos, and they're so funny. The Bills one was hysterical with Josh Allen in living in the hole like Andy Dwyer from Parks and Rec. The Chargers is always phenomenal. The Sims with our boy Harrison Bucker in the kitchen, which was awesome. Um, yeah, it's overhyped a little bit because we already know all of the matchups. We just don't know when they're going to happen. I think it's fun. There's no real NFL news going in now. And what's funny is the NFL does such a good job at spacing out all of their stuff. It's just like every month there's something, you know. They do a great job in the off season of doing that. I think it's just fun, and I think that now that all the social teams are like into it, it's more fun. You know, they're getting the players involved. The Goodwill was it Goodwill Hunting or Goodwill?
It's Goodwill Hunting. That's the movie.
No, I know, but what did they call it? Goodwill. Wasn't hunting. Oh, it was something funny, but like they all just did a good job. The you know, Nashville going around in Broadway and asking everybody.
Oh yeah, I love that. They'd be like, and it shows how casual people are and how small this the sports fandom bubble is, because people are
I
like,
love the ASMR videos. People were doing candy baskets. You know, they're doing a lot of like TikTok trends and stuff, and I thought it was really fun and inventive and cool. Is it a little bit overhyped? Sure, but it's fun. It doesn't hurt anybody, and it gives people in the NFL world something to talk about for a week. So it's not bad for us.
Well, I'm going to take the opposite here, because I was going to say overhyped, but then I hear what you're saying, and I think it's kind of underhyped now, because I think that I think even though most people are paying attention to the NBA playoffs and what's going on in softball and lacrosse and everything else that's going on in the spring, I think it's underhyped, because I think that like they can do more to like really get it talked about. And I know that obviously this is in its infancy. It's the second year of them making it an event instead of it just being a blank schedule release. So I think it'll get better. But I'm basketball first, football second. But in this case, I think it's underhyped. And I know that shocked Morgan, because I think she was going to think I was going to say overhyped.
If you have time and you want me to go and watch all of them. They're like 2 or 3 minutes long. They're fun. They really are. Most teams did a really good job with them. Some of them are really short, you know, and they're cute. And I think it doesn't hurt anybody, and it's fun. So I think they're fun. But moving on, we're moving to the NBA. And I'm gonna let Kylan take a lot of this, speed through it. A lot of these are reactions, and you know, we're getting less and less teams every time we talk. But so the Timberwolves destroyed the Nuggets. Like, I mean, that's kind of all I have to say. It was embarrassing for the Nuggets. In total, I just feel like the Nuggets, do they look tired to you? And like kind of done? Like maybe like they're just like, we're done. We're good. I don't know. They just seem.
I feel like, so here's what I think happened, right? I feel like the Nuggets blew their load overcoming the 2-0 lead. Obviously, I picked Nuggets in 7. I know RC thought I was an idiot for picking his Timberwolves, for picking well, not an idiot, but like the logical thing by picking his Nuggets and then switching after that 2-0 hole to the Timberwolves. But I just think that, you know, the Timberwolves, their backs were against the wall, obviously. Now it's tied 3-3. And now they got to go back to Denver, deal with that elevation. But that's what happens when you're a young team. I think that you can pull off stuff when you're a young team, because you don't know any better, right? And you're led by that dog, Anthony Edwards. And I just think that they can do it. And I think that even though I picked Nuggets in 7, I just think I got to give the edge in a game 7 to the Timberwolves, because all the pressure's on the Nuggets. RC has a comment. He says he's still ticked off the Wolves lost 3 straight. That's still unforgivable unless they win game 7. So we will see. And speaking of that, a game 7 preview, right? So for the Nuggets, right? The Nuggets have to get a third score. It doesn't matter who it is. They have to get a third score. That's the long and short for the Nugs, right? They have to get a third score. They have to win the non-Jokic minutes, which they lost last night. Even though I was at a Phillies game, I saw that 70-point margin and just knew. I was like, yeah, the Timberwolves boat raced them from start to finish. didn't give them any room to breathe. And that's what you got to do against the Nuggets, right? They're the defending champ. Like, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And if the Timberwolves want to go to their first WCF in years, they're going to have to step on the Nuggets. And the Nuggets need a third scorer. They need Jamal Murray to beat Jamal Murray. And now that it's going back to every other day now instead of every 2 days, um, it's going to be hard. Jamal Murray has a calf injury. So, like, that means people have to do more. Jokic has to do more, right? And I just think, even though I picked Nuggets in 7, I think now the pressure's on the Nuggets, and they have to prove now, because they had their chance to, destroy the Timberwolves in their home building, and like RC said, got destroyed by 70 points. Like, I think that he said he was too busy watching the Fever get their brains beat in. But, like, I am of the mindset that for the Nuggets to win, they have to win the 9 Jokic minutes. They have to get a third scorer. And the bench, that depleted bench has to do well. For the Timberwolves, it's just a simple matter of if Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards, that demon that he is, if they combine for 70 to 80 points, the Timberwolves will win. And the Nuggets have no answer for Cat. They have no answer for Anthony Edwards. And now that Mike Conley's back, the Timberwolves now have their defensive, Jamal Murray stopper. But
Yeah.
it can happen in a game 7.
Yeah. Anything can happen in a game 7. It's crazy.
So the long and short of this, if the Nuggets fall to the Timberwolves, is this going to impact Jokic's legacy? I'll say this, no. Just because you won a championship, you lost to a young up-and-coming team, there was injuries. So this is like the season where you've got a little bit of an excuse if you're a Nuggets fan and the Nuggets, but I think Jokic is pretty much assured. He's one of the top 2 big men in the league, and, it's debatable who's 1 and 2, but he's a top 2 big man in the league right now. So I think his legacy is assured. You got anything to add?
No, I think you're correct about that.
Okay. So the other thing that matters in New England, the Celtics destroyed the Cleveland Cavaliers. RC has no faith. It's Timberwolves. He sounds like you. He sounds like you with the Giants. When the Giants, you remember how you sounded before the Giants beat the Eagles?
I'm not ready for heartbreak again. It's all happening too soon. I'm not ready for it. I don't want to be heartbroken again.
Yeah, so I totally feel that. So yeah,
I don't have as much faith though. I had so much faith last year is the problem. I don't have as much faith in the team as I had last year, which will make it better when it comes to the Giants. But
okay. So the Celtics destroyed the Cavaliers. Kind of expected once we heard that Donovan Mitchell was down, Jared Allen was down, Karis LeVert was down. And, even though the Cavs put up a good fight, they really showed their depth. They lost to the Celtics. And, the Celtics, not by the hair of the shinny chin chin. I said this last week. Once the Sixers got out, the way kind of cleared for the Celtics to go to the finals. And that's kind of what happened. The Cavs got injured. The Celtics didn't really need Kristaps Porzingis, and they did it. They boat raced them in 5 games. So that's what we expected, and that's what happened. So are the Celtics going to cruise to victory over whoever wins this series between the Knicks and the Pacers? Yes, yes. Like, because the Knicks are going through injuries. Like, the Pacers are the healthier team, but they're struggling with the Knicks. But either way, whoever wins in that series is probably going 7. I have a preview of that later. That series is probably going 7. But I think the Celtics, if it's the Pacers, the Celtics are going to destroy the Pacers in about 5 or 6 games. And if it's the Knicks, especially without OG Anunoby, the Knicks are either going to get swept or they're going to get destroyed in 5 games. Just in the sake of time, I'm going to stop this NBA analysis for a minute to allow Morgan to get her reaction for he's not him, she's not her, and they aren't them.
Yeah, so I'm going to obviously he's not him is Harrison Butker. Don't need to say any more about that. that's just he sucks. Um, I'm gonna do. I know I kind of did a preview of this, but I'm gonna do a she is her for my mother-in-law and my mom for throwing me just the best bridal shower ever. Like really so sweet. All the women that came out to support me were just it's incredible, and it's a really nice feeling to have people that you love that come and support you and all that stuff. And then I'm gonna do a she's not her, but it's like a light one. It's like you got this girl. It's to Caitlin Clark, but it's when she started to get really frustrated with herself, and Aaliyah had to come over and calm her down and bring her down. And she has to find a way to stay centered during these games. She has to find a way to. I understand the passion, I get it, and it's not a bad thing. The passion is not a bad thing, but you have to channel that passion not into anger but into like getting better and trying harder. And she needs to take some of the pressure off of herself because she has so much pressure has been put on this poor girl. So it's my she's not her, but it's more of like an advice, Morgan's advice corner for Caitlin Clark.
Okay.
How
Cool.
about you?
So my he's not my so my she is her to my mother. Happy belated Mother's Day to Mrs. Watson. She does a great job. She is my number one fan. Really love her. So my she is her to her. Thank you, mother. And I really do love you, and I am very much appreciative of everything that you do for me and for our family. So really appreciate that. So shout out Mrs. Watson out there. So my day aren't them. Oh man, I hate saying this, but my day aren't them is the MLB just because I think it's ridiculous that I think it's great and ridiculous that the Phillies and Mets just played each other, and now they have to get on a plane today to play each other tomorrow in Britain. I kind of think the NFL, the MLB should have done a little bit more of a better job scheduling that better. So my they aren't them to them. I think the MLB is a great thing, but I just think the scheduling kind of makes it hard because, like I was telling my friend Trey yesterday, they lost. Like both teams, like the Mets won, but both teams lose because essentially you stay at a hotel, or probably they did the smart thing and immediately flew from the stadium to to the airport and went to Britain so they could at least get a day today, play Saturday and Sunday, and then fly back. Hopefully they don't play again until Wednesday or Thursday. I haven't really looked at the scheduling, but I think that was kind of stupid of the MLB. I know you want to do the Britain stuff and be like the NBA and NFL, but sometimes the scheduling could be better. My he's not him. This is interesting. So my he's not him. Honestly, I don't really think I have a he's not. Oh yes, I do. So my he's not him to oh no, my day shoot. Nah, ain't nobody. I haven't really seen anybody doing anything really wrong on my
I know
he's.
I haven't really either. It's been everyone's been kind of nice. It's
Yeah,
good.
so yeah, so my he's not him. Just because I have to do it. My he's not him to Michael Porter Jr. Step up, bro. Like, I think you see that the Nugget like they need you. Jamal Murray isn't doing what he's supposed to do just because he's injured. Nikola Jokic needs some help. Step up, bro. Michael Porter Jr. I know you're going through a lot. One of your brothers just got banned for life. The other one's uh, in jail for DUI. The other one's in jail. I know you're kind of distracted, but let's play off basketball. Do better, bro. And my they are them to my Syracuse women's lacrosse team. Gonna be here next weekend, right, for the lacrosse championship at the link.
Are you gonna
Do
go?
do this. I'm thinking about it. Do the
You
Syracuse alum
should.
proud. Do the Syracuse alum proud and win that championship, baby, in Philly. Win that championship in Philly. Make us all proud and do that, girl. Do that, girl. Shout out to them doing really, really well on the lacrosse field, and hopefully I'll get to watch a dub, whether that be live or here in this room in Philadelphia. Would love to see that and I hope that they don't lose to BC again. So that's my they are them.
I
Um,
love it.
yeah, I don't really have a she's not her.
I know,
I
me
gotta
neither.
get out of here. It's 1:15.
All
Thank you.
right. Yep. I gotta go. I gotta get stuff together for a wedding we're going to. Shout out Sarah and Tyler. We love you guys. Can't wait to see you. I'll be back. We'll be back next week. Um, yeah, that's also true. That's
Okay.
also true. Um, no, I see both sides. That's why I it's when I say that she's not her, it's more coming from a place of like care and like she needs to somehow find a way to not take all the pressure onto herself, and that comes from other people putting too much pressure on her. She's a great player, she's going to be a legendary star in the WNBA, but she's played 2 games. She needs to let herself be okay. So
Yeah.
all right, that's what I'll leave with. I'll see you guys next week.
All right. See you, Morgan. Have a good.
Peace.
See ya. All right, y'all stuck with me again. So yeah, so where was I? So yeah, so what's next for the Cavaliers, right? Shout out to RC too for the comments. Uh, you are doing a great job. This is what he said. He said he agrees with me that Boston should make the finals, but stranger things have occurred, and I agree with you. But I just don't think the Knicks and the Pacers will be able to, or the Pacers will be able to really challenge Boston. I think if it's the Pacers, it goes 5 or 6 games. I think if it's the Knicks, especially without OG Anunoby to really challenge Jason Tatum, I think he'll go off against the Knicks. Jalen Brunson will have that boy Drew on him and Derek White, and that'll wear him out. And I don't think he'll really will perform. Plus, he's got a bad foot. So therefore, I say that if it's the Knicks, the Celtics will probably sweep them, especially without OG Anunoby. I think they'll get swept. I don't think the Celtics will be scared of MSG. Um, I think the Celtics are gonna sweep the Knicks and or beat them in 5, and beat the Pacers in 5 or 6 games. I think that's what's going to happen to whoever wins between the Pacers and the Knicks. I think they're really fighting to get destroyed by Boston. That's really what's going on there. So to the Cavalier side, because I covered the Celtics side enough, and RC knows, and anybody watching the show knows, like, I think the Celtics are weaker than they were last year, despite the addition of Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday. It really pains me to have to give the devil their due. So, yeah, I don't think the Knicks or the Pacers will challenge them. But what's next for the Cavaliers? So what's next for the Cavaliers is they have to figure out what pieces are going to fit together in a post Donovan Mitchell world. Like, this season, they were saying that it's not championship or bust, and now they're going to try to sell Donovan Mitchell on the fact that this is a team that can win a championship, and I don't think he's going to buy it. I think what's next for the Cavaliers, they have to figure out what pieces match up in a post Donovan Mitchell world. Like, Darius Garland's representation is already putting out because I guess he didn't really like sharing the ball with Donovan Mitchell. Again, I have no sourcing on that, but this is what the rumors now come out. The knives are out now that the Cavaliers are out of the playoffs, right? We've gotten reports now that said Donovan Mitchell was frustrated that some of his teammates weren't mature enough to handle the playoff moments. So basically, what Donovan Mitchell's representation is saying was saying is that, like, I was with a bunch of inexperienced losers. That's basically what his representation is saying. That's not what they actually put out there in the public. That's Kylan's interpretation of what he's saying. Darius Garland is saying that if Donovan Mitchell comes back, he wants to be traded. Or his representation is saying that, not him himself. It came out that the Cavaliers were mad that Jared Allen didn't want to take shots for his back. And that's why he didn't play. They wanted him to play. He didn't want to play. Um, you know, RC, they're basically the sad Cavaliers. Yeah, I mean, if you're a Cleveland Cavaliers fan, this is just inevitable, right? Like, we said this as soon as Donovan Mitchell was traded to Cleveland, that the clock was ticking. That if he's in the East, he should either be in Philadelphia, Miami, or somewhere where he can compete for a championship. Especially if he's going to stay in the East, it's either the Sixers or the Heat. If he wants to go home, Like, I don't think a backcourt of Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell gets you a championship. I've said this before. I've said if he wants to go home and go to New York, he's just going to be second, third, or fourth place to either the Sixers or the Celtics. And I just think that that's not really going to help the Knicks, if I'm being honest with you guys. But it's ultimately Donovan Mitchell's decision. But I think, like I said, what's next for the Cavaliers is trying to figure out what they can salvage. Try to get a top pick because Donovan Mitchell is not going to stay. They're going to do their best convincing, but I think the knives are out and Donovan Mitchell is not going to stay. And then you're going to have to figure out if a backcourt of Darius Garland, Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, and Evan Mobley, and Max Strus can keep you in the playoffs or not. And if not, then you got to blow it up. So I think what's next for the Cavaliers is blowing it up. You know. Yeah, basically this is a team of dysfunction that masks the pain with a band-aid. Right on, RC. So I kind of answered this question already. Will Donovan Mitchell stay or leave Cleveland? I think he's leaving. I don't know where he's going to go. I would love it to be the Philadelphia 76ers, but I definitely think he'll end up in Miami, or New York or LA. I think the league kind of owes Miami, after Damian Lillard didn't go there. So I feel like Donovan Mitchell will probably end up in Miami, and Miami will do the same thing that Cleveland just did. They'll lose Jimmy Butler, put a backcourt of Mitchell and Hero together with Bam Adebayo, and when it doesn't work, Donovan Mitchell will be looking for his next team. Hero will be looking for his next team. Bam will be looking for his next team, and Mitchell will probably be left holding the bag. But I think he'll wind up in either L.A. I hate saying it, but probably L.A., Philadelphia, New York, and/or Brooklyn, or Miami as a dark horse. But we'll see. But I definitely think he's out, and Cleveland should just blow it up now. Unfortunately for them. So the Thunder fell to the Mavericks 2 days ago in Game 5, and my reaction to this is, the Mavericks clearly had better role players than I thought. Derek Lively is proving that he is great. He's figured it out. He's a defensive, he's not a defensive liability, but he's a defensive strong point for the Mavs, and the reason why they won that game. Excuse me, on that series, y'all probably can't see it on camera. But he has proven he's a rookie, but he's proven that he's one of the best acquisitions that the Mavericks have made. And obviously PJ Washington, speaking of really great acquisitions, he didn't really have a good game on Wednesday, but he was the one that really kept the Mavs in this, and now he's the responsible one for that 3-2 lead. But I think the Thunder are a young team that's learning every game that they play against the Mavs. I think the Mavs will cough it up eventually. But I think that they did a really good job in Game 5, despite the fact that Luke is injured, despite the fact that Kyrie is up and down. I think the Mavericks. I think this series is going 7. And I think that RC says like Tyson Chandler Jr., which is a compliment because he definitely. It's funny because get out my head, RC, because he definitely did remind me. I kept saying, is that Lively or Tyson Chandler? He definitely does remind me of Tyson Chandler. So get out my head, RC. Yeah. So I think the Thunder semi got humbled on their home floor, but I think that this game coming up on Saturday will be big for them. So I think that they'll have something to say in Game 6 in Dallas. I think that the Thunder are going to be able to, they got to come into Dallas's house and they have to hit their 3-pointers. They have to get Shai Gilgeous-Alexander going. Have to get the Williams. They're not brothers, but the Williams. I'll call them playfully the Williams brothers going. They got to get some help for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Chet Holmgren has to finally start hitting his shots. Excuse me, y'all. My phone's going off in the background, but ignore that. We're not going to answer it while we're on air. But yeah, Chet Holmgren has to get going. the Williams brothers, they're not brothers, but like I said, the Williamses have to get going. The bench of the Thunder has to show up. That's the X factor here. Like, is somebody else? Are there going to be two more scorers on the Thunder that are going to join Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and help them and help the Thunder stave off elimination and push this to a game 7 in OKC? I think that's the X factors for OKC. On Dallas's side, will PJ Washington have a good game? If PJ Washington is hitting his threes, if he's doing what he's supposed to do um, in Dallas, then the Thunder have no chance. So PJ Washington is like the biggest X factor here. And obviously, if Derek Lively can continue to be like a defensive sponge and keep Chet Holmgren off the boards, and if Chet Holmgren continues to be ineffectual against Lively, then the Thunder will have to figure out a way. Mark Dagnall, a former UConn coach, has to figure out how to get Chet Holmgren going. So Lively, Washington, Chet Holmgren, the Williams brothers, those are the X factors. Whichever one of those, if more than one of those gets going, as far as if Holmgren gets going again, if one of the Williamses starts scoring again, then I think the Thunder will win that game. But if Lively and PJ Washington continue to dominate, then Dallas will win. But as far as me, I'm going to pick. I said Thunder in 6 or 7. It's not going to happen. It's probably going to be 7. So I have to say the Thunder win. I think the Thunder win tomorrow night. And I think the Thunder win tomorrow night, and then I think they win. They win in 7. That's what I'm going with there. And so the other question here: are the Western Conference teams favored to win the NBA Finals? Yeah, I think if you're Boston or New York, you probably prefer Minnesota or Denver over the Thunder, just because the Thunder and the Timberwolves have lengthy, young, pesky defenders that you really don't want to deal with besides Mike Conley. And I think that both the Thunder and the Timberwolves match up better against the Celtics than the Nuggets. I think that obviously, you know, uh, Celtics really don't have Al Horford / Old Horford, probably won't be able to contend with Jokic. It'll probably look like what Jokic was doing to Rudy Gobert early in the series, backing him down and just doing what he wanted when he faces Al Horford if they beat the Timberwolves in Game 7. But I think that the Western those I would definitely favor the Thunder, the Timberwolves, the Nuggets, and let me not disrespect the Mavs or the Mavericks, despite the fact that Luka's injured, over the Knicks, over the Pacers, and obviously the Celtics are the superpower. I don't think any of those teams outside of maybe Minnesota and the Thunder have anything for the Celtics. But I think the Western Conference teams are definitely favored to win the NBA Finals. I think they're going back to back, and I think either Minnesota or the Thunder will beat the Celtics in 7 games. Just because I just think that outside of Jason Tatum, I don't feel like you can rely on anyone besides maybe Derek White on the Celtics, and I will continue to say that. And the Celtics continue to prove me right, even though they're winning in 5 games, that they really don't have a consistent player outside of Jason Tatum. And then to the other question, did we overhype the young Western Conference teams during these playoffs? When I made this question, obviously, both young teams, the Timberwolves and the Thunder, were down a game in their series. Obviously, the Timberwolves blew out the Nuggets last night, so now that series is tied. We'll see if the Thunder, with their backs against the wall, will blow out Dallas or not, or will it be another close game? But I don't think we overhyped them. I think that they're young teams that are learning how to win in this environment. I think the Timberwolves obviously look stronger of the two teams because they were up 2-0. They kind of choked away that lead, but now it's tied. It goes to a Game 7. Like I said earlier, more of the pressure is on Denver than it is on the Timberwolves because the Timberwolves really aren't supposed to be here. Most people thought the Timberwolves would lose in 5 or 6, and it's a Game 7. So the Timberwolves are playing with house money. So I think the more the pressure's on Denver, and if Denver starts like they did last night, slow, and they're down a bunch of points to the Timberwolves. I think that they'll give up the ghost and just accept their fate. Especially with Jamal Murray being injured, Michael Porter Jr. not really being able to do much in this series. Um, I don't think I overhyped the Timberwolves or the Thunder. I think that most people underhype them. I think that they're both up and coming teams. I think that they will be in the finals very, very soon in the next 2 to 3 years. And I think even if the Thunder do lose to the Mavericks, there's no shame in it. It's just the fact that they didn't really have enough. They aren't big enough to contend with Lively and PJ Washington. But I think, like I said, I think Chet Holmgren comes to play. Um, Tomorrow night, and I think that I think the Thunder are going to get to a game 7 as well. And so I think that we're still very much in play to have that Thunder Timberwolves Western Conference Finals. Even though, like I said, I picked the Nuggets in 7. I did flip to Timberwolves in 7, but I still think that it's a crapshoot. But I think the Timberwolves, especially if they get a fast start, will be able to put enough pressure, and the Nuggets will fold just because they don't really have enough to compete with the Timberwolves, the Thunder, or the Mavs. Um, so heading to our next contest. Oh, does RC have something to say? Let's see. Yeah, yeah. So he said the same thing I did. OKC and Minnesota aren't supposed to be here, so they're playing with house money. Correct, RC. Correct. Again, get out of my head. Uh, yes, the Pacers. The Pacers. The Pacers, yes. Knicks Pacers game 6. That's perfect, RC. Thank you for the segue. Knicks Pacers game 6. So, the Knicks, the both of these teams traded blowout for blowout. You had the Mother's Day massacre where the Pacers destroyed the Knicks, and then the Knicks destroyed the Pacers 2 nights ago. So now they're basically even in blowouts. But I still think the Pacers will be able to beat the Knicks, especially now that the series is shifting back to Indiana. I know the Knicks have been here; they beat the Sixers on their home floor, but that was with OG Anunoby. I think OG Anunoby's hamstring is more injured than most people know. I don't have any inside sources on that. He just hasn't played since game 2. So I think that the Pacers will win tonight. I think that their role players will play better. I think that the Knicks don't have an answer for T.J. McConnell and the rest of the bench players, and they've shown that throughout this series. Like RC said, they are playing with house money because they're not supposed to be here. Neither are the Knicks, really. But I think the Pacers will defend home court again. I think we'll have our third straight blowout of this series. I think the Pacers will blow out the Knicks, and then we'll go to a game 7 in MSG. Because I just think that eventually, and this is going to get to the next question. I think the injuries are going to catch up to the Knicks. I think Jalen Brunson is going to be able to continue to carry the Knicks, especially if they do make it past the Pacers tonight against Boston. So I think it's going to end. If it doesn't end by Monday night for the Knicks, I think it's over next week. By the end of May, I think it's over for the Knicks, one way or another. So getting on to the next question. Is this Knicks run a fluke, or are they really that good? Oh, RC. I know this is a question that's pondering a lot of people. To me, I think this Knicks run is very reminiscent of what happened with the Atlanta Hawks a few years ago. I think that they've been buoyed by the fact that Jalen Brunson is him. He's one of the best players in the league, probably a top 11, top 12 player. But I just think that this is kind of a fluke run. I think the Knicks are good, but they're not really that good. They aren't them. I think the Knicks are very, very primed to beat the Pacers if everything goes right for them tonight. But I just think the injuries are going to catch up to them. The Knicks are an inferior team in comparison to the Celtics. So I definitely think this Knicks run is a fluke. I think this is the best that you'll see the Knicks. I know that everybody's tired of these annoying New York Knicks fans, and the Celtics will get them out of here, or the Pacers will get them out of here. I think this Knicks run is a fluke. I do think they're a good team, but I don't think that they're that good. Eastern Conference Finals good. I just think it's kind of like what happened with the Hawks. It's just the nature of the thing. Like, the Sixers took advantage of an injured team with the Sixers, taking advantage of a young, inexperienced team in the Pacers. We'll see. Like I said, I believe the Pacers will win tonight, and then there'll be a game 7 in MSG. But I just think that this Knicks run is a fluke. I think they are good. They are up and coming, but I don't think that they're like ECF good. I don't think they're a top 4 team in the East good. I think they're top 5. I think the minutes and the injuries will catch up to them. So I think the Knicks run is a fluke. Um, and then to get to the next question, will the injuries catch up to the Knicks in this series or in the ECF? Well, I think it's already starting to catch up to the Knicks in this series. Like Tom Thibodeau, he's a great coach, but he runs players into the ground. He did it to Derrick Rose. He did it to a lesser extent to Jimmy Butler. Like this is what he does. He runs players into the ground. He's a great coach, but he plays players 40 minutes. Josh Hart isn't really being the Josh Hart that he was against the Sixers. He's gone back to normal Josh Hart, which is a meddling, okay star in this league. And I think the injuries are starting to catch up to the Knicks, and I think it will catch up to them in this series. I think it's going 7 games. I think the Pacers can beat the Knicks in MSG. And I just think that the Knicks, the injuries are starting to catch up to them. They may not lose against the Pacers, but they'll definitely, especially without OG Anunoby, get destroyed by the Celtics and probably either get swept or get gentlemen swept. I've said that about 4 times today, so I'm definitely being consistent. Tom Whipperdo. Wow, because he whips his players. He does. Tom Whipperdo. I like it. I like it, RC. I like it. He does. He does. He does beat himself. So yeah, so I definitely think the injuries, they're starting to catch up to the Knicks, like I said. And I think it's a wrap for the Knicks when they face if they face the Celtics. So yeah. So, even if the Pacers lose to the Pacers side, even if the Pacers lose this series, are they still one of the up and coming teams in the East? Yes, I think, like RC said, the Pacers really aren't supposed to be here. They were. Some people probably thought that they would get destroyed by a healthier Buck squad, but that didn't wind up happening. I think the Pacers are an up and coming team. I think that Tyrese Halliburton, Pascal Siakam duo is building. I think they probably need a third scorer there. I like Miles Turner, but I don't think he's the third scorer there, even though he has proven me wrong these last couple of games by scoring 20 plus points. Um, I think they need a third scorer in Indiana. But I think the Pacers are definitely one of the up and coming teams. They're kind of like the Knicks, right? They're probably a top 6 team, not a top 3, top 4 team in the East. But they're up and coming. They're young. Tyrese Halliburton will grow. He'll probably grow from the Olympics experience, no matter what happens in this postseason. And I think he's a superstar. He's definitely going to be maybe not in Indiana, but he'll definitely put a banner up somewhere. Maybe not in Indiana, but somewhere else. Maybe Philadelphia. But I think the Pacers, are a really good up and coming team. RC says the Pacers should be watching the Fever games, but they're here. I think they can thank Dame and Giannis' injuries for being here. Honestly, yeah. I mean, like just like with the Knicks, right? They both of these teams benefited from injuries for the Knicks, Joel Embiid, injuries for the Pacers to Giannis and Damian Lillard. Although I think even with Dame, they had Doc Rivers as their coach. They were definitely going to lose that series to Rick Carlisle and them anyway. But yeah, and I just think it's really a good time for it to be a Pacers fan and for Indiana basketball in general. Like RC said with the Fever and everything else. he said he takes that back. The last thing they might want to do is watch Fever games. I mean, RC, I don't know if you were here earlier. I said that the Fever are kind of getting baptism by fire because they had to play the Suns and the Liberty. The schedule should ease up for them. I think the Fever, they might not make the playoffs this year, but they're going to be a good team and they're going to be fine. one way or the other. Um, yeah. So to the lottery, the Atlanta Hawks, for the first time in their history, got the number one pick. Crazy, guys. Like, it's great for Hawks fans, but for the first time in the Hawks history, I think since 1946, they are they are they got the number one pick. Oh, RC definitely heard that. Okay, good, good, good. I'm glad you heard that. Okay, good. But yeah, they got the number one pick. They haven't done that since, I think, Dominique Wilkins. And I think we're gonna have our back-to-back French talents being taken in the I was about to say WNBA in the NBA draft. Alex Sarr. I hope that's how you pronounce it. Seems like he might be the number one pick. Or they do need a center, so maybe Morgan's boy in UConn, Klingon, maybe. We'll see. But if I'm them, I'm probably taking a guard. I mean, that means you have to decide what you're going to do between DeJounte Murray and Trey Young. I definitely think this probably means that Trey Young is getting traded. But yeah, I'm excited for the Atlanta Hawks. Like I said, they had a fluke run to the ECF a couple of years ago, and now, like, there's kind of gone down for them. Kind of a lot of dysfunction there. And we'll have to see, like, do they trade Trey Young? Who's going to get Trey Young? Is Trey Young a big piece of the championship team? Like, it's gonna look good, but I think the Hawks finally have the number one pick, and they just have to decide between DeJounte Murray and Trey Young who they think they can build around, and who they think they can bring Sar or Klingon or whoever else in, and who do they think they mesh well with. But I think this spells the end of Trey Young's Trey Young's tenure in Atlanta. The number one pick in the NBA draft in Atlanta. It's like Bronny James and his daddy. I can see it, RC. I can see it, man. Atlanta definitely needs another superstar, and I think LeBron James would do well in Atlanta. But what should they do with it? Should they keep it or trade it? I think Atlanta should keep it. I think that this is a chance for them to bring a superstar. Like we said, they haven't had the number one pick or a top three pick since they got Trey Young a few years ago. So I think that you have to take advantage when you get a number one pick, and especially when you suck enough to get the number one pick. So I think that they need to take Sar or Klingon or whoever they want, and they just need to take the pick the best player available, and build around that player, and maybe there'll be a championship parade down whatever main street it is in Atlanta. Shout out to Clarence Taylor III and all the people that I know in Atlanta. You might get a parade in Atlanta very, very soon, because if the Hawks get a good player and they keep, and between DeJounte Murray or Trey Young, they decide who they're keeping, they might be a good team. But other stuff in the lottery, right? The Spurs have two top picks. It was unfortunate. Oh my, they aren't them to the Detroit Pistons. How, once again, the worst record in the league and don't have a number one pick. Oh man, no one likes the Pistons, baby. They didn't even get. They got a top 8 pick, but not a top 5 pick. Kind of sucks for them. But that's my reaction. The Pistons didn't get a top 3 pick. This sucks for them, especially because they had the worst record in the league. But I still think they're up and coming. I think they need to keep Cade Cunningham. Decide what they want to do with Jaden Ivey, and if they don't want Jaden Ivey, the Sixers will definitely take him. Well, I think RC, this is a great question. I think Atlanta had like 2.5%, 3% odds to get the number one pick. So I think they had the lowest odds to get the number one pick, and they got the number one pick. I think the highest odds were the Pistons, because they had the worst record, obviously. And it's not like the NFL where the team with the worst record gets the number one pick. It should be, but I think this is the second year in a row where Detroit didn't get the top pick after having the worst record. So maybe it's changing in the NBA. Yes, the Detroit list not Pistons. Yeah, the Pistons aren't doing well, man. But yeah, so the Pistons will get a chance to add another top 8, top 9 pick. The Spurs get a chance to build around Wemby. The Raptors get a chance. I think they have another top 3, top 4 pick, so they'll get a chance to continue to build there. But yeah, I think the lottery was good this year. I think it's great for Atlanta that they have hope now, more hope than they had before. I just think it's great. And then to the last segment, because I did my we did he's not him, she's not her, and they aren't them. College football 2025. It's real. The trailer dropped today after the cover reveal yesterday. It's Quinn Ewers, Travis Hunter, and Jonathan, or it might be Donovan Edwards from Michigan. For those of you video gamers out there, college football 2025 is back. I was gonna make a joke. Morgan isn't here, but I know her future husband, fiance slash future husband Dan is a big gamer as well. I was gonna make a self-serving joke that for both of us, the UConn Huskies football program and the Syracuse football program is probably the closest we'll ever get to winning a national title in football playing this video game. So college football 2025 is coming out. July 19th is the release date for my gamers out there. So I'm very excited about this because I am a big college football video game fan. RC agrees with me. He's been waiting for this forever. I haven't watched the trailer yet, but I did see the cover reveal yesterday. Can't wait to see the trailer. I did retweet it on Twitter, but I haven't watched it. But yeah, a lot of us long-suffering college football, NCAA football fans have been waiting for this, and I believe there's a deluxe edition for those of you who are going to get. You're probably like me. You're going to get college football and Madden. I believe there's a deluxe edition for 150. I think. Um, yeah. Oh, look, man, from your lips to God's ears, RC. Hopefully, NCAA basketball is coming back because, again, I would love to. I missed the NCAA basketball video game as well. 2K and Live kind of took that spot, and I hope they do an NCAA video game. Hear us at EA, at 2K. Somebody bring back an NCAA basketball game for us long suffering college basketball fans. But yeah, college football 2025 is back. Let me know what you think about that. I think it's great. I think it's good to have another game to play in July. I think it comes out July 19th, which is 7 days before my birthday and the Olympics. My birthday happens to fall in the Olympics this year, July 26th. So it's going to be a very, very good time in July for us on this podcast. That comes out. I think Morgan gets married as well that month. So we will see. But yeah, like it's going to be epic, and I think this game is great for those of us football fans. Oh, RC likes college football video games better than Madden. Hey man, I like them both. Ever to each their own. I definitely do think college football has a deeper franchise and season mode than Madden. So I mainly play against people and play the dynasty mode. So I love the college football dynasty mode. So I'm a big dynasty guy. He said, "This is transferring the players for NCAA football with a Madden though." Well, look, you get your chance, RC. This is the year. It's back, baby. So yeah, so that pretty much wraps up another show. Like I said, playoff basketball is wrapping up. Shout out to the Syracuse University women's lacrosse team being a Final Four participant there, getting to come here to Philadelphia to fight for a national title in women's lacrosse. Maybe I'll be there next weekend for it is Memorial Day weekend as well. So happy early Memorial Day weekend to those of you out here. Happy unofficial start of summer next weekend. But yeah, go enjoy that women's lacrosse Final Four. Be hyped for those of you that are watching this and had no idea. Had no idea until I said it that the college football video game is back. Thank you, RC. Salute and peace to you as well, my brother. Enjoy your weekend, man. Shout out to your Timberwolves for doing the dang thing, man, and destroying those Nuggets. We'll see. Like I said, we're gonna get at least one game 7 this weekend. Timberwolves and Nuggets. I think that there'll be a game 7 in MSG. Tonight I'm gonna pick the Pacers. Tomorrow I'm picking the Thunder. And I think it'll be at least 3 game 7s this weekend and Monday. And Monday, obviously, NHL hockey playoffs is going on for those people that care. So like I said, salute and peace to everybody. Had a great time at the Phillies game. For those of my Philly fans, let me know the next time y'all gonna be at a game or something. Maybe we can make something happen. But yeah, enjoy the rest of y'all weekend. Enjoy lacrosse. Enjoy the softball. Enjoy the playoff NBA basketball. In a minute, we'll be back to rumors of who's going where. Where's LeBron going? Where's Donovan Mitchell going? That time is coming. But enjoy the playoff basketball. Enjoy the young phenoms rising. Enjoy the WNBA tip-off week and weekend. Shout out to those girls. Shout out to Caitlin Clark. Shout out to Angel Reese. Shout out to all the stars currently, Asia Wilson. Again, we didn't touch on it here, but got the Nike signature shoe deal, got the Gatorade deal, is a New York Times bestseller. Shout out to everybody doing the dang thing. Have a great rest of your Friday and a great weekend. Deuces.